Good morning, YouTube. Wednesday morning, 18th of September. These poppities are doing their usual thing. Prospector is playing with a piece of foam again. She's a weird kangaroo. She should have a joey at foot. A little bit perturbing that there's no joey in sight. Anyway, the kangaroo with the foam fetish. You haven't got a foam fetish, have you? You're a normal kangaroo. Yes, you just like biscuits. Want a biggie? Perhaps. Gonna have to think about that. Okay. Well, you've got a piece. Doesn't stop you wanting another one though. Well, what news? The fuel burden reduction program continues. The kangaroo with the foam fetish continues. A strange solo fascination. Yesterday afternoon, after it had been threatening to rain and spitting most of the day, while I was clearing the dead dry tea tree away, it shaped up to actually look as if it was going to rain, to the point where I didn't take the last trailer load of the day up to me rubbish dump. Went and boiled the kettle, had a cup of coffee, a slice of toast. By about 5:30, I'd actually had 3/4 of a millimetre. And then there was a rumble of thunder. It wasn't a real sharp crack or anything. Didn't sound like it was anywhere particularly close. However, at about 5:45, I got a phone call from my son. One of his brigade crew members had been driving south on the New England Highway, and as he was passing me next door neighbour over there to the east, he'd spotted a fire. So I was dispatched post haste and forthwith to go down and see if I could see any fire with my Mark 1 eyeball. And at 5:54 in the afternoon, from the Barilda front gate looking across Mabbotts, that is what I saw. Sort of flames 5 metres high and 20 metres, 30 metres across. So I went and had a bit of a chat with my two neighbours closest to the fire, after ringing my son and Triple O and all that sort of stuff. Triple O had already heard about it, of course, because it was so close to the highway. And for the first time since 2014, I got to put on me yellow stripy glow-in-the-dark RFS suit. And my son and I were on the same fireground, and this time he was pretty much in command of things. And the Worbely PPE, personal protective equipment, racked up its 8th fire in 16 years. Don't often get to go and do some firefighting because I'm so far from the Dundee fire shed that they've pretty much always got the truck out and gone, and they're often dealing with it before anybody tells me that there's anything afoot. This time I got to play with somebody else's fire hose, having jumped on one of the Glen Innes fire trucks after driving myself back to my next door neighbour's place. And then, surprise, surprise, I actually gravitated to the Dundee Cat 1. So I spent a couple of hours on my own brigade's fire truck under the command of my son, and one of the best aspects of it, it was a bit of an old-fashioned mosquito squad style of a response. Particularly in the sense that the bloke who lives in this house, is visible here, he's in personal possession of a bulldozer. So he set off towards the fire on his bulldozer, and by the time the fire trucks got there from town, there was a bulldozer on site ready to put a containment line in around it. And the other really good thing is the fire was where it was, so it was accessible. There was actually a cleared paddock between the fire and this forested country going up the hill, and the wind was blowing the fire away from the hill towards the highway. So from my point of view, I was really glad that it wasn't a lightning strike 500 metres further this side, because there wouldn't really be anything or anywhere that you could stop it. As it was, not only was there a cleared paddock access as close as me to those kangaroos to the fire, but there was a dam with water in it, so we could refill the tankers, spring-fed dam. So hopefully, given a couple of days of good weather, that fire can be put out and we won't get any more dry lightning strikes. Although that one technically wasn't a dry lightning strike, because there was, well, at this stage there looks like 0.85 of a millimetre of rain in the gauge alongside the leaf, which was small enough and narrow enough to fit through the funnel and show the measurement of the drought within the raining of the gauge. Leave that to dry out before putting the funnel back on so we get an accurate reading. And over here we have the soil moisture profile gauge, which never gets emptied, and when it's completely dry it means that you're sitting on a bushfire fuel bomb, and when it's completely overflowing it means that the driveway is a mud pie. Now in there, what there is all the algae and dust which has accumulated over probably 10-15 years, and the spider web, because there was a resident spider in there, and there probably still is, but it got so dry that when I was doing my firefighting practice and it actually intercepted consistent precipitation, the humidity underneath the level of the spider web seems to have caused the spider web to shrink. So we now have an absolutely clear and cleaned bottom of the rain gauge showing there's still 1/4 of an inch. So yeah, 1/4 of an inch. 7.5 millimetres of moisture in the soil here, left over from the 0.33 of an inch that went out in the firefighting practice. So it's looking better. I gotta say, it would look even better still if the wind was not coming from the east. I don't particularly relish that site because that is about there. And you've got access on that side of the fence. There's the fence line, fire's over in there, and there's a dam just there. However, here I am here, and it's not actually particularly far. 2,250 metres, I would say, from my little clearing, where everything's fairly peaceful, to my neighbour's place, where there's still trees 2 foot diameter on fire, lying on the ground. So hopefully the wind is going to die down, and hopefully it'll turn around and not blow from there to here. Because if this gets away from here and spots up onto this hill, there is nowhere to try and stop it except this power line easement. And once you get up along here, you wouldn't get a fire tanker along that easement. So that means there's really nowhere to stop this fire if it gets away from here, up and across here. Yeah, unless somebody feels like donating a helicopter to fight that, I'm going to have to stop it up there along this line here. Oh, what fun. Did anyone ever tell you that you're a weird, mad style of a bugger? Prospector? A kangaroo with a foam fetish. I think one more load like this, and then I'll get into that with the chainsaw and move it. My growing pile. It's a slow job, but it's a necessary one. And now I hear helicopters. Whether he's coming here or going to Tenterfield, I'd say going to Tenterfield, Drake. I'm not hearing or seeing any course corrections. Oh, nah, he's just going straight ahead. All the fun of the fair, I guess. 22 past 8. Guess who just made a mess of that telephoto shot? Right. So that's that done. 20 minutes to unload the trailer and make the pile higher yet still. And you can see how high the flames went up that tree last time I burned here. So, no rest for the wicked apparently. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.